This is a group shot taken in 1999 right here at Mid-Ohio, and that is basically the Honda 750 team that was successful at Daytona in 1970, including Mark on the left, Dick Mann seated, myself next to Dick. In the center, in the back, is Glenn Biggerton, the Honda rep from Ohio, and Bob Hansen and Ron Robbins. This was a reunion of the Honda team.
30 years later.
Yes, 30 years later. This is myself operating a 1915 Harley, and that is Jean Davidson in the sidecar. She's the granddaughter of the founders. Her dad was Gordon Davidson, who was the manufacturing VP at Harley-Davidson when I was there for a brief time. This is a 1925 Harley that came from Australia that I restored, and I am really proud to say that it's down in the Barber Museum. Anybody who hasn't been to the Barber Museum, shame on you. That's another shot of the bike. This is one of the stalls at the Racine facility in Racine, Wisconsin. That was the Midwest Training Center at the time. There were 5 stalls, and we did service on different size bikes in each of the stalls, and we would repeat the next day, and the groups would move from one stall to the next. This is Mark McGrew's group. Mark is second from the left in the front row, rather surly looking chap. Dennis Scheller is the service school instructor on the left, and I'm on the right, and my hair has not changed a whole lot. I'm sorry to say. This is Mark's graduation certificate. When a group completed the course, we took group photographs, and everybody was issued a diploma, and you can see that Soichiro Honda signed it. We would invite him to come in every week. He would fly in from Japan and individually sign each and every student's. And if you believe that, I got a nice card. This is a map of Tokyo that we were given when Bob Young and I were selected and sent over to participate in the final stages of the CB750 program. And trust me, that little map was like a piece of gold. And we really could figure it all out. You could hand that to anybody in this room, and you get there and look at, oh, here we are. And we kind of went up counterclockwise, and that spur that kind of angles off to the left, winding up like maybe at 11 o'clock up there. That's where the Saitama factory was. This is the Tokyo Tower. That's my kid riding the unicycle with a neighbor on the back, my oldest boy, who was also the guy pushing the streamliner. And Bobby, at the Salt Flats, did set an unofficial record. He did not need Joe Petrali's timing device, but he rode further on 2 wheels on an ATC than had ever been recorded. He just went down the Salt and kind of disappeared down there. This is the gathering of 1969 Hondas, the first group of them, and we were testing out in the desert area. I believe the man on the right with his arms folded is Mr. Suzuki, who was the national sales manager. The man in the white is at this time had just come to the United States, Mr. Makino, and the man looking over his shoulder in the reddish colored shirt is E. Saito, and he would kid us, E means engine, and he's the key man in the design of the CB750 engine. All really neat guys. And Mr. Suzuki was a bit of a interesting person, but he did a lot of fun things for Honda. This is a group of motorcycles, the red CB750 with a Vetter fairing. We had lunch with Mr. Vetter today, and we were kicking this around a little bit. He's now over here in a tent displaying streamline motorcycles. These fairings were designed by him and made for Triumph motorcycles, but they fit very nicely on the CB750s. And the bike on the far right that's partially obscured is the blue 750. These bikes were at the dealer convention in January of 1969 and were then used to participate in the testing. Those are the two bikes there. That's Bob Dornbos, almost as bald as I am and much younger, standing behind the blue bike. He was one of the active test riders. We're now in Tokyo. That's Bob Young on the left. Mr. ZN Nakajima, who was the American Honda service director for, what, 3 years, Bob? 3 or 4 years?
Usually they came 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and he was wonderful. I mean, this guy, and we're at a Japanese restaurant in Tokyo preparing to have a meal of some kind. This is the Daiichi Hotel, which was kind of our headquarters when we were in the greater Tokyo area. I took this picture from the top of the Tokyo Tower with a Canon dial camera pushed up against one of those monstrous telescopes, and that ship was teeny tiny out there in the harbor, and I thought, this is never going to work. And it was a half-frame 35 camera, and I'm just tickled with that. That's E. Saito on the left, and Mr. Harada in the center, and myself on the right. And this is at R&D. This is a group of engineers that were assigned to the 300 project. The 300 project was the 750 project. There were, I think, a grand total of 63 engineers, and we would meet in groups pertaining to different facets of the final stages of the pre-production. The guy in the black jacket is Oguma, and Oguma was in a class by himself. The guy was utterly fantastic, brilliant, a hell of a rider, and became the Grand Prix motorcycle team director in the Mick Doohan era. When Mick was whipping everybody, Oguma was in charge. He has since retired from Honda, but we had really neat times in Japan with him because he wanted to learn Japanese.